to Coronavirus The Rundown. I'm Chris Stewart. Each day we showcase the ways communities are taking on coronavirus. We also break down the major headlines, and today, a recent increase in infections. New cases on the rise across the world and in the U.S. in more than a dozen states. Those states are reporting their highest 7-day averages since the pandemic began. Coronavirus hospitalizations have been rising in 9 states since Memorial Day. The CDC says it is so important to wear a mask in public, keep social distance, and to wash your hands. It says it's working on new ways to get its message across. Advocates are ramping up resources as eviction moratoriums expire in more states. 24 states are processing evictions again. That number will rise to 30 by the end of the month. Many local and state governments still have COVID-19 assistance programs for people who need help. Private groups and nonprofits do too. Some members of the D.C. National Guard reportedly have coronavirus after they were deployed to protest last week. A Guard spokeswoman confirmed at least one case, but wouldn't say exactly how many. She says all members were screened for the virus when they arrived and will be screened again before they leave. Now, coronavirus is forcing companies to cancel summer internships. As Alicia Nieves shows us, one company created a program to help more people than ever.
College students rely on internships to give them hands-on experience before going into the workforce. But this year, a survey done by the National Association of Colleges and Employers found 22%, or nearly 1 in 4 college students, had their summer internships canceled.
I was supposed to work with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this summer, working full-time for about 10 weeks. I was really excited for it, but it did get canceled.
Patrick Heimbaugh is a junior at Purdue. Fortunately for him, when his internship fell through, a company called TechPoint decided to help.
Felt like I had a second chance. Like this summer wasn't going to be just a blowout.
We thought, you know what? Based on our organization, our mission, and where we sit in the community, this is an area where we can make a difference.
Mike Langelier is the CEO of TechPoint. The company normally has a summer internship program that helps about 100 students. But in the wake of a wave of internship cancellations, it decided to create a second program for 5 times as many students called the SOS Challenge.
Their task is over the course of about 5 weeks to come up with a product prototype and a go-to-market strategy aimed at one of 9 different challenge topics. And they're all COVID related. So it includes things like telehealth, outbreak detection, restaurants and small businesses.
TechPoint got 56 other companies and more than 250 tech professionals to commit to helping the SOS Challenge interns. But beyond the networking and mentorship, TechPoint announced a $25,000 prize for the group with the best prototype. The group will also get an award from Indiana's governor.
We're excited to be able to help make a difference amidst challenging times for so many young people.
With unemployment rates so high, graduates are entering one of the most competitive job markets ever. So a second chance at extra experience is likely more helpful than ever.
I'm so thankful for the team at TechPoint, for people who lost their internship. I say keep looking. There are opportunities. They are hard, and it's going to be hard to get them, but keep trying.
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
Alicia, thank you. Now, you may have started to notice some changes in your family since the start of this pandemic. Researchers are also taking note of this. There's a new Italian study that found coronavirus-related lockdowns have increased childhood obesity. Researchers were already studying obesity in children before the pandemic, and they found 3 weeks after Italy's national lockdown started, children's lifestyle habits changed.
Families were watching a lot more screen time. Screen time went up, physical activity went down, of course, and there were more meals being eaten at home with more chips and sugary beverages and so forth.
Now, stressors are the main factors contributing to the changes. Families really shifting their focus to homeschooling, maybe financial pressures, and there was less of a focus on healthy habits. Researchers say the current weight gain may contribute to obesity during adulthood, but experts do say that it's okay to get back into a healthier lifestyle with small steps.
We have to start from the vantage point of having, I would say, empathy, compassion, and recognition that this is a very hard period for families, children, and caregivers alike.
Experts say they still need more research to confirm the effects of lockdowns on childhood obesity. Now, people struggling financially may be considering filing for bankruptcy. Experts say there is a benefit to holding off. A lawyer with the Legal Aid Society of Milwaukee says that you should do everything you can to work with creditors before you turn to bankruptcy.
You can tell them, look, I'm unemployed because of COVID-19, and lots of creditors have programs, especially big banks or credit cards or auto lenders.
Bowers says there are situations where filing bankruptcy is the best option, like if you have a lawsuit pending. She says, ask yourself, what happens if I don't file for bankruptcy right now? And if the answer is something like, not much, well, then likely you don't need to file. From the coronavirus outbreak to the recent protests for police reform and racial equality, many people, let's face it, are stressed right now. And as Maya Rodriguez explains, it's now reigniting an urgency to make mental health care more easily accessible with a new 3-digit number.
As the nation struggles to get a handle on the coronavirus pandemic and confronts the issues of police reform and systemic racism, some of the country's mental health hotlines are seeing a growing number of calls.
We have seen an exponential increase in the demand for mental health services.
A recent survey from the Kaiser Family Foundation shows that nearly half of American adults say their mental health has been negatively impacted by the coronavirus. But mental health hotlines are 10 digits long, can be hard to remember, and impede access to immediate help.
I say the road to seeking mental health services is paved in Swiss cheese. And if you don't know how to get yourself around some of those holes, it's tough.
One solution? Make the National Suicide Prevention Hotline a simple 3-digit number, 988. Late last year, the Federal Communications Commission recommended the number become a national crisis hotline.
It's just going to be transformative if we can get it done.
It's an effort that's slowly gaining traction on Capitol Hill because of COVID-19. This letter, signed by a bipartisan group of Senate and House members, calls for any future coronavirus-related stimulus bill to include funding for 988. Congress could take up another stimulus bill later this summer.
988 would essentially destigmatize mental health and suicide by promoting easily accessible help seeking behavior and ultimately save lives.
Lives that continue to be impacted by tumultuous events and a pandemic with no vaccine available yet.
And we don't know how long it's going to go. So I think we're going to see more and more people who've not accessed behavioral health services in the past need to do that.
With the hopes that a small number can make a big difference. In Washington, D.C., I'm Maya Rodriguez reporting.
My thank you. Now, if you are struggling with mental health issues or you need counseling, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. The number right here on your screen, 1-800-273-8255. Now, it wasn't long ago people were struggling to find basic products like toilet paper. Now, experts say things are getting better, but what some are worrying could throw the balance out of whack again. Plus, the experiment on llamas that could help humans in the fight against coronavirus.
To Keller. Keller and Keller.
The supply chain is improving, which means it shouldn't be so tough to find products like toilet paper or disinfectant. Brendan Ponton shows us what's changed.
Back in April, Jack Lavoie was trying to help his friends and family find toilet paper, so he ordered 48 rolls for $140 through a Facebook post. He thought he was getting rolls of Charmin, and this is what he got last week.
And here's your 2 cases of toilet paper.
Needless to say, he now wants a refund and is being told he has to send the toilet paper to China in order to get it.
I was hot. I said I got had.
Luckily, he's not having trouble finding toilet paper now, and that's because experts say the supply chain is improving. Dr. Erica Marciak is a professor at Old Dominion University who studies supply chains.
Pretty much everything has come back maybe not necessarily at the volume that it was before. Sort of like we didn't appreciate it when we had it. Now we appreciate it more. As our patterns of behavior shift back to more like what they were pre-COVID, then the supply chains will be moving in the same direction.
But still, Dr. Marciak cautions about overbuying.
We're fine. Keep in mind that you don't want to go and clean out the shelves so that no one else can get their stuff.
And if you are having trouble, Lavoie wants people to avoid doing what he did.
I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I just want people to know that, hey, don't do it.
As things improve at stores, hopefully incidents like this will become fewer.
Well, the U.S. is about to start 3 coronavirus vaccine studies. Dr. Anthony Fauci confirming this to CNN. The trials will test whether a vaccine is safe and effective. The testing may not stop there, though. The U.S. may also plan for additional vaccines to move on to phase 3 trials. According to the World Health Organization, there are 10 coronavirus vaccines in human trials as we speak. Now, researchers are looking at how a person's blood type could play a role in whether or not you get coronavirus. So far, experts at 23andMe believe that people with O blood types are less likely to become infected. 23andMe is still looking for people to join a study, particularly people who have been diagnosed with COVID-19 and ended up in the hospital. Well, gyms are reopening. Summer is, of course, here. People are anxious to get back into their exercise routine, whether it's just a walk in the neighborhood or some time you spend at the gym. Now, trainers say it's perfectly natural to be a little slower, let's face it, a little weaker than you were before all of this happened. Chris Angel says the best thing you can do is to spend a couple weeks getting your body used to exercise again.
Check your ego at the door. And it's hard for us to, I might have been lifting like Arnold Schwarzenegger 2 months ago, but I'm not the same person now. And I need to go into my exercises with that in mind. So lighten the load a little bit.
Well, too much too fast could lead to an injury. You want to be aware of that. And he says it is really important to warm up for 5 to 10 minutes before you work out. And he also points to the fact that rest days are very important. Now, a discovery involving a specific group of mammals could be the secret to a coronavirus treatment. As Elizabeth Ruiz shows us, researchers are taking a closer look at antibodies from llamas.
When domesticated, llamas are multi-purpose animals, used for their wool or as a pack animal for trekking and hiking. But did you ever think they'd play a role in battling the SARS-CoV-2 pandemic?
Winter is just another llama in a way.
Winter is the reason researchers have hoped llamas could be used to find a coronavirus treatment. Dr. Xavier Solins is a virologist at Ghent University in Belgium and has been studying antiviral antibodies in llamas for nearly a decade. He says Winter isn't necessarily unique. She was simply picked out of a herd.
I don't know exactly why. Probably it's because she was rather gentle, because you don't want to be hit or spit by a llama if you approach him or her.
It's what happened after that has led researchers to a great discovery.
We decided 4 years ago to immunize a llama with a mixture of proteins coming from the MERS coronavirus and the SARS coronavirus.
Dr. Solins, alongside a team from the University of Texas at Austin, found her immune system had a good response to both types of coronavirus, developing antibodies against them. And now they have confirmed she also has antibodies that can bind and neutralize the SARS-CoV-2 virus.
So binding to the virus is one thing, but then being able to stop the virus from infecting a cell is what we would call neutralize the virus. And we found that the antibody actually also could accomplish that.
But what is it about llamas that makes them special? Llamas belong to a family called camelids, which also includes alpacas and camels. Dr. Solin says this group produces a specialized class of antibodies called nanobodies.
And those nanobodies can be extremely potent in binding to a target. They are also small compared to a conventional antibody, and they could reach parts of a virus which are more difficult to reach for.
In other words, they're small compared to your average human antibody, so they can target parts of the virus that are hidden, and they're very good at attaching to a specific unwanted target. Dr. Solin says he and his team of researchers hope the antibodies can be used for a coronavirus treatment, meaning it would help someone who has already been infected and is experiencing symptoms.
And could, for example, prevent the person from becoming severely ill or improve the recovery phase of the person.
According to Dr. Solins, they've been testing the antibody mixture on hamsters. So far, they've had positive results. If all goes well, he's optimistic they can start human clinical trials by the end of the year. Dr. Solins says he finds it amusing Winter has become famous, especially considering she's not aware of her celebrity status.
She's just another llama, I think. But she gave us very good nanobodies. Yeah.
I'm Elizabeth Ruiz reporting.
That is fascinating. Elizabeth, thank you. Now, needles, that's something that could keep people away from getting a vaccine. But we will show you how this patch could be the answer to that concern and give more people access.
Best shoe store ever? The hunt is over.
Welcome back. The rush is on to not just successfully develop a COVID-19 vaccine, but to find a way to get it without the typical needle or syringe. Amanda Brandeis shows us how it might work.
With all COVID-19 is taken away, the world is hopeful a vaccine can bring it back. There are now over 160 different vaccines being developed.
It would mean a lot.
Dr. Dan Henderson is the CEO of Vendari, a biopharmaceutical company based in Napa, California. He originally came to wine country to retire, but stepped back into the lab during the Ebola crisis.
One of the things I wanted to do was to make vaccines more patient-friendly, so that they don't hurt.
He says some adults avoid vaccines because of a fear of needles. His company initially set out to make a flu vaccine, but switched gears during the pandemic.
This is what it looks like. And on the back, there's these tiny little needles that you can't even see.
Called the Vaxi Patch, he says the needles are so short they don't reach your nerves and are painless, while still effectively delivering the vaccine.
And then I go like...
And unlike traditional vaccines, the patch doesn't need to be refrigerated.
Well, we were doing that to try to come up with a vaccine that could be distributed globally. But now, for the first world, it's a shelter-in-place vaccine.
They're now working with the FDA to see if it could be mailed to your door. The vaccine would leave a temporary blue mark, so the patient could take a photo and send it to their healthcare provider as proof of vaccination. Clinical trials are underway in animals and so far look promising. Vendari is one of several companies rushing to get these onto people's arms.
It's important to me to try to make a contribution, and a contribution like that to me is priceless.
In San Diego, I'm Amanda Brandeis reporting.
Amanda, thank you. Now, this type of technology could be available to the public early next year. Human trials are planned for the fall. This company thinks could make 20 million doses a month. Now, the University of Pittsburgh has a fingertip-sized patch that also shows promise and could be mass-produced. Well, a woman is helping make sure seniors are connected to the world right now. The simple tech tasks that she is teaching them for free.
Forgettable jeweler.
Welcome back. We like to end the rundown each day with stories that remind us of the good that is happening in America right now. And today, it's a woman in Florida helping seniors connect to the outside world through social media. Now, obviously, as you've heard, isolation is affecting many people during this pandemic in many different ways, but seniors especially have felt lonely. So Tiffany DePani started Social Savvy Seniors. The group shows older adults how to use technology like video chatting or even just a Google search.
Even before COVID, we had a real concern for senior isolation because our world we are living in a digital world.
DePani teaches group classes for free. Right now, most of the trainings are virtual. Well, that's all the time we have today for Coronavirus The Rundown. We'll see you next time. I'm Chris Stewart. Thanks for joining us.